I'm Dudu. In the design system we have covered so far, design tokens were not just simple colors or numerical values. They were variables, the smallest unit of communication between designers and developers. However, if the agreement on what to call these variables is not clear, it can be difficult to maintain the design system in the long run. In this session, we will look into the design token naming convention, which is the most fundamental agreement of a design system and the topic that causes the most concern in practice. When building a design system, the biggest concern is probably what to name things. We need a rule where both designers and developers can immediately understand the role just by looking at the name, rather than a name that only I can understand. Shall we look into a clear and intuitive naming method that will solve these complex concerns? Before we learn the actual rules, let us look into the basic concepts that form the very foundation of naming conventions. Shall we first talk about the fundamental concept of why we need to establish criteria when deciding on names? These are the names we commonly see in practice. Names like Color Blue 01, Main Red Final, or Red Real Final. If you name things this way, collaborating departments cannot understand the meaning or purpose just by looking at the name, leaving it neglected within the design system. Therefore, the naming convention of a design system should be approached as assembly based on rules rather than creation from scratch. This is because it is not about thinking of and attaching a pretty name, but a process of deriving the name through a filter of established rules. This shift in perspective can be the most important first step in creating a systematic design system. If you look at the address system in South Korea, the hierarchy is very clearly defined, such as Seoul City, Gangnam District, and Samsung Neighborhood. Just as you can immediately know the location simply by looking at this address information, we need this kind of standardized filter when naming things in a design system. The core idea is that the identity of the element must be fully captured within the name, just like a well-structured address system. First, we need a minimum agreement that everyone must follow. We will summarize the core guide on what fundamental goals names should aim for and how to unify the most important notation rules in practice. The first condition of naming is that it must be a name that is easy for anyone to remember. This is because a design system is a tool used together by multiple designers and developers. When using abbreviations to reduce the character count, you should avoid mysterious abbreviations that only you can understand. Instead, the core idea is to increase intuitiveness by using standard abbreviations commonly accepted in the industry, such as expressing component as component and background as background. The second condition is that it must be a sustainable name that allows for maintenance even as the system expands. If you use words tied to a specific project or a current trend, you may face a situation where you have to change all the names as the system grows. It is important to create a rule that does not feel awkward over time by choosing universal and comprehensive words. Let us look at 4 cases frequently used in practice. There is camel case, which starts the first word in lowercase, and Pascal case, which capitalizes the first letter of every word, and there is snake case, which connects words with an underscore, and kebab case, which links them with a hyphen. It is good to clearly recognize the visual differences of each method. The most important thing is to unify the case into one within the team. This is because if formats are mixed, searching becomes difficult and the reliability of the system drops. Preferred cases vary greatly from person to person and team to team. Therefore, you must establish this rule before starting the project. Once the basic conditions and notations are set, it is time to start assembling the names. There is a recommended rule when naming design tokens. They are completed by combining standardized blocks spanning from the hierarchy of the design system to its states. From now on, we will look into the most important assembly formula that creates the backbone of a token. This is a completed example where all design system naming conventions have been applied. More than 10 blocks are elaborately combined, starting from the design system affiliation through theme and domain to the final color mode. This long name is not just a random sequence. It follows a clear rule flowing from a high hierarchy on the left to a low hierarchy on the right. Now let us examine these blocks in detail by dividing them into 4 main groups. This naming convention is adapted based on the framework of EightShapes, a global design system methodology. We use a system of 4 major classification groups to efficiently manage numerous blocks. First is namespace, which tells the affiliation and environment of where the token is used. Second is object, which specifies the exact component the token applies to. Third is base, which defines the essential attribute such as whether the data is color or font. And finally, the modifier group, which adds context on when and how this style varies and functions. If you clearly understand these 4 criteria, it will be much more helpful when naming things in the future. The first group, namespace, is the area that answers the question, where is this token used? It defines the design system that forms the root of the token, the theme that determines the design tone, and the domain of the user who utilizes this token. For example, it sets up the boundary at this stage first, such as a designer environment that uses the hard theme, meaning a firm or sharp tone, of the AA design system. The second group, object, specifies what exact object does this apply to. It targets the elements by narrowing down the steps from higher groups like user interface or form to concrete components like button or radio, and down to detailed elements within them like icon or text. Once you go through this group, it becomes clear which part of the screen this token was created to change. The third group, base, defines what is the essence and form of this data. It defines the type of data such as color or font, the design intent such as feedback or action, and the actual applied properties such as background or border. This is a crucial stage that determines what raw material value the token contains and for what purpose it is used as a visual language. The final group, modifier, completes the context of under what conditions and situations does this style function. It includes style variants like primary, user interaction states like hover or focus, numerical scales like medium or large, and environmental color modes like light or dark. It plays the role of putting the final period on the context of use at the very end of the design token name. The major principle to remember when assembling these numerous blocks is that they must be listed in order from the largest element to the smallest element. It is identical to the hierarchical structure of an address system, which narrows down from Seoul City, then to Gangnam District, and then to Samseong neighborhood. Only by following this principle can thousands of design tokens be systematically sorted and searched. However, this formula is not an absolute law. When actually applying naming conventions, certain blocks may be omitted because they are not needed depending on the team's situation, and the order may be flexibly rearranged according to management criteria. The important thing is not to trap ourselves in a fixed frame, but whether names are being consistently derived within the principles defined by our team. Finally, there are 2 things to be careful of when assembling names. The first is not to completely reverse the hierarchy and make it jumbled up. The second is to boldly omit words that are redundant in meaning or unnecessary. A name that is concise and free of redundancy is the most suitable name for a design system. So far, we have looked into the core rules for defining names intuitively and systematically within a design system. Based on what we learned today, I highly recommend that you do a self-diagnosis to see if you can imagine the code when looking at a specific element name in your team, if the structure remains unbroken when a new state is added, and if it is easily searchable in Figma. See you next time! I'm Dudu.